Before we begin, thank you very much to Zap Rousdower for pitching in over on Ko-fi. Not many would get that reference. I get that reference, so thank you very much. Do appreciate the tip. Thank you very much. So, one of the things I've been getting asked a lot when I do my live streams, and I'm very well aware, this is because I live stream as my own fake little Kamen Rider as a VTuber. People have been asking me what I think of Kamen Rider Zeztz because, well, I was doing videos for Zeztz, but since like 3 people watched them, I had to stop. But I said I was going to periodically poke my head in. We're still going to cover it, you know, because I still want to support the first Rider series officially released in English. But man, I have been busy. So I've fallen behind, I've caught up, I've fallen behind, I've caught up again. Right now I am caught up, and I'm confident now in saying that, like, oh my god, this series has pulled like the craziest plot turn I think I've ever seen. So obviously this is going to cover pretty much everything of Zeztz. So here's your only warning. This is going to be spoiler filled. Also, this, like Zeztz itself, is going to be hard to follow if I tried to like format this in some way. I don't think it's going to come off the way I need it to come off. So we're just going to just get my thoughts out. We're literally just going to talk it to you right now. This will be great as one of those, like, keep it open in another tab while you browse. Just podcast this episode. Because we're going to be talking about mostly the plot twist, like mostly like where the series sits now. We'll do a little bit of like leading up to it. So like here's where I've been with Kamen Rider Zeztz, is that I have enjoyed it. I don't understand I had a lot of people who were complaining about the pacing of the series, thinking it's going too slow. I really didn't get that vibe at any point from the series. It felt fine. Like, maybe a little slow at times, but like I felt like every episode filled you in a little bit more, gave you a little bit more to chew on or think about. I thought it was pretty good at building its mysteries. But maybe that's just me. I like mystery stories. That's why I like Agito so much. So I didn't mind it. I didn't understand the problem people had. I heard that others had trouble following it because of its dreamlike nature, but honestly, I feel like that just mostly happens within the fight scenes themselves. Basically, like, the show is pretty good at informing you of when they are in a dream sequence. You know, it is the times when the more surreal things are happening, when Baku is dressed a certain way, if his hair is flipped up, for instance. There's a little tells that tell you, like, the difference between this is happening in the real world and this is happening in person. And I appreciate that they try very hard to maintain that. It's something that I've seen other shows kind of fail at. If you want to go way back, it's the reason why I don't really vibe with VR Troopers, because it's hard to tell what's happening in the real world and what's happening in the virtual world. But that's for the veteran Tokusatsu fans out there. That's for your 90s Toku fans. Let's get to the point here. Let's stay on track. Leading up to this, I kind of got the vibe I got from a few things. The vibes I agree with were, A, I really don't think we saw enough of the individual forms. This is something just modern Kamen Rider seems to have an issue with. We just kind of blitzed through a lot of his normal form changes, where form changes used to be like pretty consistently used. You know, like you take a look at like Kamen Rider Den-O, and all of those forms got used pretty commonly, even after some of the stronger forms were introduced. And then it just kind of stopped. Like, they got weird about it. And like they just, Kamen Rider shows just kind of like forgot that we start needing those other like lower forms. You know, like Gaim was really bad about that. You know, like the times that you would see like Ichigo arms, and I mean the strawberry, not the rider. Or Kiwi. Kiwi was used like twice. And that was it. So Rider shows have had an issue with that series, like introducing forms for the sake of selling toys and then kind of forgetting to actually do something else with the forms. And I kind of got that vibe in Zeztz, where like the form I was like the most happy about was Wonder, because Wonder's powers seemed kind of fascinating. And it seems like you could do a lot with that in the realm of a dream. Also, Scythe Weapon. But we got like barely any episodes. Granted, half the series is left to go, but you've seen how the series has gone since introducing the other forms. Zeztz very quickly started depending mostly depending on plasma. So we got a bunch of episodes with plasma, and plasma is a really cool form, but I felt like it was excessive. I feel like I could have done with just clever usage of the other forms rather than giving him a power-up form before he gets his power-up form. And his power-up form on screen right there. I will be honest, I do love Catastrum. I do love Catastrum. Catastrum is like, it's like the Hulk showing up in an Avengers movie. You know stuff is just going to get smashed, and that's a lot of fun. I think Catastrum is probably one of my favorite super forms in a long time, just because it's so different. Not just in power and appearance, but it's so different in tone. Because Baku using that form, it's not a berserk form. Baku's in total control. I describe it more as like a rage form, where he is just like, or like a not screwing around anymore form. That's essentially what it really is. Yeah, it's Zeztz with the brakes off. It's Zeztz locked in. It's whatever you want to call it, but it's great. It's great. Like the personality shift that comes with it is really kind of terrifying, which was kind of the point. So form-wise, I've been really weird about these things. So we got plasma, and then they got boost plasma that got shown one time. I'm aware it's in a preview for an upcoming episode, so they haven't completely dropped it, but weird that we've only seen it once so far. Again, it's just weird. They've just been blitzing through forms, and it seems a little bit off-putting. It's like the stuff that I thought would be like really cool ends up showing up on camera for like an episode, maybe two. So the pacing there has been a little bit weird, but everything else, story pacing, I think has been great. Like, I'm not complaining about that in the least. And then we hit the middle point of this series. The tone starts changing drastically. Like, people start dropping, which is kind of wild. I mean, it's crazy. So, like, when they start pulling out real guns instead of shooting each other with their obvious toy guns, that feels weird, and also makes me wonder, like, what is really going on in these situations. Like, this doesn't seem real. Like, I thought it was some kind of like weird setup. Like, okay, like maybe Nox and like the Lords planned all of this. I think pacing wise, that actually brings up another thing. Yeah, I think the Lords showing up and then like getting written off so quickly, that was also like struck a weird nerve in my brain of like, why did you introduce these characters if you were going to get rid of them that fast? So that one also kind of like irked me a little bit, but then comes the twist. But yeah, like when the real guns start coming out, like it felt weird because it's like this is not what you normally see in a Kamen Rider show. What is a real pistol doing on screen? And it felt like a setup for something. It felt like Nox was arranged something with the Lords to just like fake this whole thing to lure out Code or something. I thought that's what it was, because like he pulled out his toy gun to shoot Baku. You know, so I figure like, okay, there's a twist here. Obviously, there's going to be a twist here. But like, why didn't he just plain out shoot him with the real gun? Why did he put the real gun away and switch to his big creamsicle rifle? This show The show knows how to play with your expectations. I'll give it that. Nox himself being so freaking cryptic didn't help. I will give you that. Nox really needs to speak up and explain things more. Use your words, Nox, like a big boy. So he's still even now, he's like, even after we saw him die, he's still kind of a mysterious character. And that kind of brings up, like, okay, the Lords just straight up got shot after they were defeated. Baku straight up kills Nox with a rider kick. I know riders have killed other riders before, like, for real. I fail to remember when, God, like, when has an actual human character been killed by the main hero rider? Like legit, like, oh, this isn't a monster. This isn't someone who is irredeemable. This isn't someone who otherwise was going to destroy the world if we actually let him get away. This was just straight up, like, dead. And it's shocking. It's shocking to see a main character go completely cold afterwards, which is understandable. But this is still, like, main character wants to be James Bond. And it's so weird. And it creates this really weird tone that I've never seen in a writer series before. And now we can talk about the plot twist. So in this wild idea that I cannot believe they came up with, we watch Baku get shot in the head. We watch the main writer lose and literally, like, straight up get murdered. And here's a few things this does. Number one, it sets up code number 3 as such an enormous threat. Because even with his best foot forward, this guy still manages to kill the main hero. This guy killed Zeztz. This guy killed Baku once already. We know he's capable of it. We know he's strong enough to put him down. Yes, he was injured at the time. Point stands. So that puts him on the board. And then at the end of the episode, then in the recent episode, we have our new villain writer stepping up to the plate. That's another huge threat going on. So Code right now is looking pretty scary. They've done a great job of setting up Code to be very threatening. Fantastic job. Even Zero. Like, when you first saw, like, the transforming robot who was, like, speaking perfect English in the dream sequences just to be quirky, you know, this robot that was sipping tea, in the Baku's little subconscious area, like, that was all fun and games, right? But now he's just, like, now we've seen him in human form and he's deathly serious, and it's, again, just a shocking turn. Having the whole thing be a dream sequence is such a writing cliche that should never work. Going like, got ya, it was all a dream. That should never work. It's such cliche. It's such, like, easy reset button. But two things about this. Number one, it makes perfect sense in this series because the whole series is based around dreams. It's a setting where that kind of plot twist isn't cliche, it actually makes sense. And then there's a part where it's not a reset button. Yes, Baku, the Lords are all still alive, like, Baku isn't completely mentally over the edge anymore. Nox is, like, still back in his, like, maybe we can negotiate with Nox kind of phase that he was, around, like, episode, like, what, 15, 16, before the lady really got in his head. Which, by the way, that's another fun twist. The lady being Nemu's mom. We kind of thought that, we didn't see that coming. We really should have. So they hit a reset button that brings everyone back to life. But because Baku's abilities, the capsums, are fueled by dreams, specifically nightmares, and then the ones he's been having this whole time, he still retains all of them when he wakes up from his precognitive dream. it's like hitting New Game Plus. And we got to see that with Catastrophe versus Bomb Nightmare, which was fantastic, by the way. I love actually seeing, like, just a nightmare that was like tricky the first time get completely overwhelmed. That was fun. That was fun to witness. But yeah, the series can continue. They don't have to reset his powers because it's all dream fueled. He had the dreams, it was just precognitive. So all of his stuff is there. That's actually a brilliant twist. That's a brilliant way to play the twist. And then really we can get everyone caught up pretty quick as far as like character. So the rest of the cast, the sister and our police officers, like, they're mostly going to be in the same setup. They have to prove that black cases are real again, but that shouldn't be terribly hard to do, though a police station hasn't blown up yet, so maybe not. But other than that, we don't have to do a whole lot to actually, like, push. We don't have to do a whole lot to put them back together. Because we know how they respond to finding out that Baku is a secret agent, that the nightmares are real, that there is this dream world that is threatening reality. Like, we know how they will behave, who they will be after they learn all of that, including the sister being on board and being like okay with him going out and doing this. So yeah, that's actually kind of a cool little thing. I think the only like reset here personality wise is like Nem. Because I really liked Baku and Nem's dynamic and like the direction it was going. Am I the only one that was getting like romantic tension between them? And that's all been reset now too. It's like Nem doesn't remember that time, but the rest of them do. So the rest of them don't need to. That's what the recap episode was for. That's the brilliant thing here. That's like the best show of like how good the writing in this series just proved itself to be. Not only is the clip episode canonical, it makes total sense for the plot. Because he's got to get everybody on his team back up to speed if he's going to go up against Code now. So yeah, like, it's fascinating. And it doesn't reset the villain progress either, other than we have not had two nightmares escape into reality. Which means, like, remember, a lot of the nightmares that Baku faced throughout the series so far were caused by that original incursion. That first case that he failed to actually stop. So a lot of those nightmares no longer exist, or at least they never had the chance to infest the human world. Meaning the lady's plans have to progress farther faster because she doesn't have as much, fuel. She doesn't have as much like players on the board as she did before. And then Code also has to progress faster than it did before because they are aware that Baku knows all about them because of the precognitive dream. It's like fascinating to know like all that was actually true, and their own actions so far since then kind of show that all of that was true, that all of that literally would have happened exactly the way it went down. But now they've had to escalate and speed things up because Baku is onto them and becoming a major threat. So it's a lot of brilliant writing. We can reset with the whole, like, it was all a dream, but we don't have to reset the abilities. We can get the cast caught up right away, and the villain side of things will actually escalate farther than it was before. We have not lost any progress. We just got to have this really cool twist in the middle of the series and then move on, and then continue to move on with everything set with a very different tone. Baku is actually going to be up against Code from now on, which means him and Nox are finally going to be eye to eye with each other. That's been the whole thing so far. I was like, why is Nox still this little prick of a villain writer when like he should be he's the secondary writer of the series? They should have like gotten along by now. But like, Code seemingly turning on everybody, including the Lords, means that we now have this full cast of Kamen writers on the hero side of things, and we now have just the villain writers who are out, in like the remainder of Code. So 3, 0, whoever's underneath the new suit. It's really, really fascinating the way that they've arranged this series. And I'm genuinely really looking forward to seeing where it all goes. It's just a fun setup. It's just a really fun, fascinating setup to this whole thing. Jeez, yeah. It's just such a master stroke, I feel like. And it's such a great starting over point. Like, for anyone who fell off the series, well, guess what? Here's a quick recap, and oh, by the way, all this happened. What? It's shocking at how many levels it works on. So yeah, those are the thoughts on Zeztz right now, just for everyone who keeps asking me. Obviously, there's more than this, but I don't want to go any longer than I absolutely have to. I could be rambling all night. We don't want that. At least I don't want that. I have things to do. So I'm going to leave it there. So let me know what you think of Zeztz so far right now in the middle of the series in the comment section below. What do you think of the plot twist? Because frankly, I think it's genius. But that's just me. I'll let you guys bicker over that in the comment section below. You go ahead and do that. And as always, I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.